I think growing up in front of the eyes of the internet has to be one of the most traumatic and haunting experiences for anyone that has had the displeasure of doing so.
1 million. Morning workout complete.
The most respected people in the world have come up to me and been like, what you're doing right now is so right.
Talk to me in a year, talk to me in 2 years, and see if she has a career. I'm not saying that she shouldn't have a career. I'm just saying that the game that she's played for the last few years is a squeaky clean game, and now that game is over.
You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me.
Lil Tay be popping on YouTube right now.
You're gonna be like more ignorant.
Saying y'all got a lot of friends at school or no?
Hell yeah, and a lot of big kids.
Nigga, listen, it's hard to blow up, and then when you blow up, you gotta keep that bitch. That shit mad hard, gang. You gotta use your fucking creative head. 9 to 5, you go to McDonald's, put the fries in the bag, hand it to the nigga and call it a day.
I often care about what people think. I've done it for the longest since I started making content.
Hell, put aside for the internet, just growing up in the public eye in general. Yes, your notoriety comes with fame, it comes with fortune, it comes with opportunities of a lifetime that are straight out of some storybook fantasy. But at the same time, it comes with controversy, it comes with an invasion of privacy, it comes with consistent judgment and not being allowed to live down your previous mistakes or break the perception of who others like to envision you as. Worst of all, it comes with not knowing who you truly are, as you've warped your entire personality to try to fit so many narratives that you truly don't even know who the real you is anymore. I know we're getting a bit heavy here, so let's just take a step back and analyze the message I'm trying to convey. In the past 5 years or so, we've entered a very tumultuous period in pop culture and news media to where transparency has become extremely highly valued to the everyday person, as we begin to understand better how celebrities, companies, and corporations have been using specialized jargon to convey specific messaging, or altering food or branding to align with what our brains are chemically engineered to like, and taking advantage of our pressure points of contention in society to use it to their benefit. Listen, I'm no conspiracy theorist. Trust me, out of all the ridiculous chatter that echoes across the halls of the internet, I'm amazed that I haven't spiraled into some sort of anti-social, overly woke, red pill, black pill, alpha male god. But people have begun realizing more than ever that not everything is what it seems, and have begun questioning the validity behind the cries and claims of some of the most reputable people and organizations on the planet. And in this time frame, we've experienced very highly controversial and debatable points such as cancel culture, the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, the rise of TikTok, the popularity of streaming culture, the fake news era, the exposing PDFs and AI taking over the world, and so on and so forth. And at the root cause of these issues, a lot of these transgressions are against our kids, our Gen Z, our Gen Alpha, the next generation that I'm trying so hard not to lose faith in. But at the end of the day, this is the next line of generation that will lead us towards the regression or progression of society. So transitioning to a space far more accessible, far more intimate, and far more younger than the ones previous, it's really started to make me look differently at the bigger issue at hand. Growing up in the eyes of the internet, or as I said earlier, just the eyes of the public in general. And with the outpouring of recently exposed predators across every facet of entertainment, it truly amazes me that child stars of yesterday escaped their adolescence with a slight drug habit or a couple of ill-advised mugshots. And while those same stars of before had to deal with enormous pressures to look a certain way, to behave in a certain set of mannerisms, and constantly having to deliver extraordinary results, our child stars of today are seemingly faced with a whole new set of challenges, with the main one being growing up, and how the internet becomes divided when that evolution occurs, sometimes for the better, but also sometimes for the worst. A lot of the inspiration for this video is mainly stemming from the discourse surrounding Kai Cenat and his move towards fashion and self-improvement and the overall step away from streaming. Now, I'll be the first to admit I didn't really watch Kai's content. I'm very reserved in my nature and could understand that most of his content was focused on a much younger demographic. However, I'm still able to recognize the impact that he had on streaming and being one of its main reasons why it's become so popular and influential today, with brands and companies implementing it into their marketing strategies to cater towards a younger audience, all while bridging the gap between the celebrity to normal audience and making them somewhat more relatable and approachable. But at the same time, with having a pretty much grown-er version of a child, as the man is only just in his early 20s and has been doing this content creation thing for as long as he's been a teenager, having his actions influenced by legions of kids and young adults all around the world, it becomes hard to know what that person is truly like. And it helps his case know better with the constant instances of performing for his audience with fake laughter, fake hype, and overly ingenuine reactions for you to understand that he was probably not being himself like 90% of the time, but being who the world wanted him to be. And that's not just specific to Kai, that's a ton of creators who are kind of boxed into a certain field or a certain group or a certain content creation to where they have to conform to do what their audience wants them to do and has to act or say things that they know will generate the most clips or get the most hype because that's what they're known for. And in order to keep up that image, in order to continue to build that audience, they have to do things that they know their audience wants them to do, whether or not they truly want to do it. And now that he's grown up, he's experienced heartbreak, he's experienced controversy, he's become more mature, and he's begun to understand the impact that he is leaving if he continues to do what he's doing. He has now shifted away from that very thing that made him who he was. The conversation of this energetic, family-friendly persona is now being replaced with the performativeness, the fake yay titles that are being bestowed upon him. Part of me sees the hypocrisy in his actions, you know, seeing the speed reading and seeing the journal stuff and overall the questionable nature of his intentions.
Yo, if you're gonna start me off with a song, what would it be? Viva La Vida by Cosplay. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. You know what that is?
And just a quick side note, I'm so sorry to break the immersion of the video, but just the scale of saying Viva La Vida by Cosplay instead of Coldplay is just so insane to me. Like, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but that's performative. And I hate using that word because it's so overused nowadays, but if there is one instance in humanity to truly describe what performative means, that would be the moment for it. That's like the equivalent of me saying, I don't know, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Carvana instead of Nirvana, or Nutshell by Alice in Wonderland instead of Alice in Chains. Like, that's just crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie. I had to put my 2 cents on it, but back to the video. But at the same time, there's part of me that questions if he ever knew what he truly wanted or he truly wanted to be. And that's the worst thing about growing up on the internet. Growing up and hard pivoting to something completely different, exploring some temporary phase or ridding yourself of your childhood has now become like a clownable offense. On the complete contrary is now the widely accepted IShowSpeed, who for the longest time on the internet, I never could imagine him having the possibility of being commercialized with some of his childish and immature and controversial remarks of the past.
Say if we're the last 2 people on Earth and we had to reproduce to make the world continue, would you reproduce with me?
No, because that means our kids will have to intertwine and then their kids, no.
Who gonna stop me?
I will.
Who's gonna stop me? Yo, nigga, who's you talking to, bro? Shut your nerd ass up, bro. I know how to play this game. Shut up, monkey. God damn.
You don't know how to play the fucking game.
What? What? Bitch? Is a talking to me? Is a female talking to me? Am I, yo, no, am I tripping? Am I tripping? Oh, wait, time out. Is a female talking to me right now? Is a fucking female talking to me? Get off the game and do your husband dishes, bitch.
And this isn't me trying to bring up some old stuff to diminish his character. The guy is doing some incredible things right now, and like Kai, I think intrinsically there's some of the most down-to-earth, smartest and forward-thinking creators that the internet has compared to some of the more shallow and materialistic people that we've had in the past few years. But there are still many who refuse to put these moments past him, even if he was like 16, and even more who will use this against him in another 5 years time when he's even a bigger creator than he is now. But then again, I'm sure we've all been part of the Call of Duty lobbies or the Xbox chats, and luckily enough we've said something or done something that will never see the light of day, because that's just part of growing up. I'm sure we ourselves can look back at our teenage years, our young adult years, and see pictures and memories and instantly think, yeah, what the fuck was I thinking? For me, it was becoming overly spiritual, like ridiculously spiritual, with some of my super edgy journal entries, carrying around crystals, and even believing in the supernatural, like not ghosts or aliens, but things that would make you look at me twice. I had a slight goth phase where I painted my nails and listened to the most heavy metal bands. I had a food addiction phase. I had a drug addiction phase. You could thank 2016 SoundCloud rap for that one. I've had a red pill phase. I had a black pill phase, and all of this done before I turned 21. But the beautiful thing about me is that I could look back at these times in my life and laugh and see how far I've come without the endless ridicule of the internet. No matter how hard you try to change that perception or how hard you try to pivot into something else, you're still always going to be known as that person who's famous because of X, Y, and Z. But now you're an adult and you have actual aspirations and a new perspective on life, and people just not let you outlive the person that you used to be. It's kind of why I understand why a lot of these child actors or internet personalities become essentially lost or disillusioned with reality. They become exposed to so much at such a young age and are constantly reminded of that, and they never get to truly grow up and experience what normal kids get to experience and really get an idea of what getting older truly entails.
So this story out of Vale School District is making everyone furious. 8 math teachers decided to show up to school on Halloween wearing shirts that people say were wildly inappropriate.
There's nothing cool about disrespecting their dad, I ain't gonna lie. There's nothing cool about talking about somebody who can't defend themselves, can't do nothing, and you hurting a bunch of people who never had anything to do with you or anything. They didn't even interact with you at all.
No one else's character and what they've done should be so important and impactful to you that it taints your character and what you do, because you're only responsible for your character. You're only judged by your character. If someone else has lived their life in the mud, I don't have to muddy myself with them by doing something as demonic as celebrating their death. I don't have to RIP either. I can just say nothing. I've never in my life said, I'm glad Hitler's dead. I can be happy that a person's negative actions have ceased without celebrating their death. Why? Because I care about me. Some people have no idea who they are because they have spent their entire lives reacting, letting other people's actions define their actions and who they are. Daddy didn't love you, so now you don't love anybody. Partner broke your heart, so now you're cold towards anyone you're in a relationship with. You're still under the bondage of what they did to you because you've let their lack of character suck the good sense and decency out of you. And you know what makes it even more alright? Everyone's doing it. Everyone's making memes and foul comments, so it's okay.
And stepping away from high society and coming back down closer to earth, for people like you and me who have lived in a time where we are all chronically online in one way or another, for me at least speaking, I just feel a huge desensitization to virtually everything and anything that should definitely affect me on a grander scale, to the point where I'm truly not sure if there's anything that I could see or hear online that could really faze me. To start, the original video I planned to make before this was the dehumanization of public death, but I kind of felt like throughout the making of the video that my perception and desensitized mind wasn't truly comprehending how fucked up we become with treating the man manner of death. Death is something that is pretty much treated as a joke now. God forbid any celebrity dies, I can't seem to escape memes of them or Twitter accounts and pages that are actively mocking someone's death or using that time to bring up some old shit to justify their death.
Kobe Bryant is a god. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have raped that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. There's always a lot of like hate, pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories. And every once in a while, there's a good story. Good story comes out. The guy who got away with rape got his today.
Thousands of sick users also flooded social media to celebrate the passing of the co-founder of Turning Point USA. Disturbing reactions ranged from mocking memes to outright cheering.
Ding dong. The Wicked Witch is dead. Didn't follow him because I didn't like the way he talked to women. But now we ain't got to worry about that and got to hear him no more.
People who, while I didn't agree with all of their actions or statements, didn't deserve death just because you don't like them or what they are known for. We have people out here making entire genres of music around the death of other people that live 5 minutes across the street from them in the other hood, making dances to it, smoking on this person and this pack, and making Fortnite and Sonic references to make it all the more comedic.
He got boxer running his mouth, he got left with his insides out. One try dash, lost and found, tech man down, ying that down.
I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many songs in the past like 5 years that are literal like Grim Reaper music is what I'm coining it as. Fuck a drill music or whatever the case is, it's literal Grim Reaper music.
They got shot, Desi got dropped down, Nate got popped down, Lee got shot, what the hell, fast face, hot gang, Corbin got kidnapped, they found his balls, he was riding.
And that stuff just becomes trendy, it's funny. Damn, do we not just acknowledge that this person just died like very violently and their whole entire family has to relive their constant death over and over and over and over and over again for the next 10 years until some jackass makes a song kicking their feet up or I don't know, doing the Macarena to someone's brains getting splattered across the street. Apparently calling your manager a money-stealing white man or saying that's why I fucked your bitch isn't enough anymore. And once again, the main culprits of this are children that are getting killed over stupid song lyrics, who are not even old enough to legally vote or are barely grown enough to even buy alcohol. I'm gonna spend very little amount of time on this topic just because I feel like it's been beaten to a horse, but the conversation of sex is like not even taboo anymore, or is something that your parents even really need to talk to you about. I can remember the days when my parents would awkwardly pull me to the side and be like, when a guy and a girl love each other very much and they get together and they make love and then babies pop out 9 months later, and my mom sitting my sister down in front of Oprah to talk about menstrual cycles and all that stuff. Like, no, that's dead. Hell, you learn the ins and outs of sex and everything revolving around it before you get your first boner or have your first cycle. It's become so widely accepted the way sex is used in media and imaging and marketing. Don't get me wrong, sex has always sold and has been used pretty frequently in the last few decades to sell, but it's just gotten way too in front of your face. Just recently I was scrolling Twitter, and yes, I'm calling it Twitter and not X, to see what people thought of the new SpongeBob movie, only to be plastered with this new Ice Spice wardrobe controversy at a kids event, and seeing the semantics of my childhood characters by dry humping and thrusting the air with marketing showing SpongeBob or Patrick doing their best Magic Mike impression. Flip over to the TV to see Meg Thee Stallion trying to turn my iced latte into any middle-aged man's morning Viagra shot, commercials of Sydney Sweeney pandering to the male gaze, and anime. I don't even want to go there. If you know, you know. OnlyFans is normalized, TikTok is prawn light, and looks maxing, BBLs, and other enhancements are all for the same purpose: increasing sexual desire. And unfortunately, for anyone that is raising a child, they subconsciously know that this is what their child will be exposed to for the next decade of life, no matter how hard as a parent you try to shield them away from it. It's in the music, it's in the messaging, it's in the imaging, and it is all there to make your child and yourself become disillusioned with sexuality and sex, and set these unhealthy fetishes, unrealistic body dysmorphias, and the belief that you are somehow not good enough. So all in all, I feel very blessed to have been raised in this half and half nature. For context, I was born in the early 2000s, so I got to experience action figures, playing with toys, touching some grass, and it really wasn't until I hit middle school that phones and social media really became a thing for me. And as I escaped middle school and high school is where streaming and funny videos on Vine and stupid dances on Musical.ly were all the rave. So I've been able to experience both sides, and for me, more recently, it just seems like everything I talked about is getting progressively worse. Childhood stars are either not able to grow up and actually evolve as a person, or are forced to grow up way too quickly and begin to be an adult before they've even finished puberty, and having this heavy desensitization to historical events and injustices around the world, and then extreme agenda push for people who are now not so much reserved for a more mature audience. I'm not gonna be that guy that's like, oh, this generation is cooked and all that, but I am truly terrified of how much growing up on the internet has affected so many people on a younger and younger scale, and I really don't want to put any more thought into the prospect of how all of this will begin to affect them in the future.